Join me today as I dive deep into the world of fantasy, ranking the greatest fantasy trilogies of all time. I'm really curious to see, will you agree with this list? Welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son talk about fantasy, science fiction, horror, and other nerdy things we enjoy. I'm Jim, the father of this show, here with you today to talk about fantasy trilogies, something many people absolutely love. And if you turn out to absolutely love this episode, be sure to let us know. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. We really appreciate all the subscribers. Thank you. The fantasy trilogy has been a thing ever since Tolkien inadvertently published The Lord of the Rings in that format. Never his intention. There just happened to be a paper shortage at the time that he wanted to publish this pretty good sized fiction book for his time. And so, all right, it came out in 3 chunks. But it worked. And it has seemingly achieved favored status with both authors and readers, as demonstrated by how many best selling fantasy trilogies now exist, which I had to wade through and try to figure out which are the 10 best for today's list. No easy task. And to be clear, this is not my favorite top 10 fantasy trilogies. I might do that another time. This, rather, is the top 10 greatest fantasy trilogies based upon acclaim, awards, sales, and just the incredible stories that they contain, all lumped together, averaged out to kind of see where they would fall in the greatest of all. Thus, without further ado, let's get into the list. Except for the ado of honorable mentions, because there are two that I'm going to put here for reasons that they're definitely not of the level that my top 10 are. You'll see what I mean. But I still have reasons to include them here. The first one is the Dragonlance Chronicles by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. We're talking about Dragons of Autumn Twilight, Dragons of Winter Night, and Dragons of Spring Dawning. It's known for being a richly detailed Dungeons and Dragons world brought to life. And it helped define the party-based quest format in fantasy. Remains a nostalgic cornerstone for D&D fans. Loved these when they came out, always hold a special place in my heart. But not the highest of quality, just good fun reading. Honorable mention. My other honorable mention comes from the world of young adult fantasy, because none of the others fit that category. But YA is real, and I'm bringing in the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. We're talking about, of course, The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay. No, there is not a Mockingjay Part 1 and Part 2. That's only the movies. But just like in the movies, we've got a teenage girl who must survive a televised death match while challenging a tyrannical regime, and how that goes on to be a second and third book, getting much deeper in this dystopian fantasy that has massive appeal not just to young adults. It sold like hotcakes amongst the adults too. I read them as well. Why can't they make the top 10? Well, Collins fails to land the plane. Book 1 is incredible. Book 2 is pretty awesome. Book 3 ends with a whimper. It's not great. I don't know if I could say it's bad. I didn't like it, and there's plenty who would complain about it. So, honorable mention, because it's a highly successful and beloved series by many. But now, let's get to the top 10. Okay, these are going to be contentious. You're not all going to agree with me. But again, thinking about how acclaimed they are, the critical reviews, the awards that many of them have, how many sales there have been, and just what kind of incredible story is contained within these trilogies, here's what we have. Number 10 is the Night Angel trilogy by Brent Weeks. We're talking The Way of Shadows, Shadow's Edge, and Beyond the Shadows. This is assassin fantasy with fast pacing and many twists throughout the 3 books. The trilogy has earned critical praise for its accessibility, and this was featured on my recent episode about accessible, immersive novels. And also, it's fast paced storytelling. It really grabs you, keeps you in, and you just are on this roller coaster ride. That is number 10. Number 9, greatest fantasy trilogies of all time. Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn by Tad Williams. This is The Dragonbone Chair, Stone of Farewell, and To Green Angel Tower, which I'm currently working to finish. Even though I haven't finished this trilogy, I have no doubt this is deserving a spot on my list. It's widely cited as being a big influence on George R.R. Martin. Unfortunately, hasn't influenced him to finish his own series. It's epic fantasy of the very best kind and really good literature. It's often praised as a bridge between Tolkien and contemporary epic fantasy, blending mythic resonance with grounded storytelling. Number 8 on my list is the Licanius trilogy by James Islington. This is the shadow of what was lost, an echo of things to come, and the light of all that falls. Time travel, prophecy, and fate all brought together in classic epic form. The trilogy receives critical praise for ambitious plotting and thematic richness, elements for which it is compared to The Wheel of Time, a much larger series, but similar in feel. Number 7, the Poppy War trilogy by R.F. Kuang. This is the Poppy War, the Dragon Republic, and the Burning God. Grim, military fantasy inspired by Chinese history. These books are critically lauded for their historical depth and their brutal honesty. Yes, brutal! I gotta warn you on this one. These are not pleasant books. This is Asian grimdark. So dark. Number 6, let's not get quite so dark. The Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. This is the Final Empire, the Well of Ascension, and then the Hero of Ages. There's more to Mistborn, but this is a self-contained original trilogy. It's admired for its tight plot, its revolutionary magic system, and satisfying endings. And this trilogy basically, I think, has the record for creating the most Sanderson fans. You ask people, how did you start reading Brandon Sanderson? And most of them will tell you, Mistborn. There is a clump of them who said, well, he finished The Wheel of Time, so I looked for what's next. And guess what they read next? Mistborn. And I do enjoy it. Number 5, the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. This is The Blade Itself, Before They Are Hanged, and Last Argument of Kings. This trilogy redefined grimdark with intelligence and subversion, razor-sharp wit, and brutal realism. The trilogy is widely respected by critics. I know our subscriber and friend Jason just recently tried the first book, The Blade Itself, and it didn't work for him. I'm flabbergasted. That's a great book, but this is a style that either it clicks for you, which it does for many, or it doesn't. And if you don't connect with Abercrombie's writing, you're not going to get it. It's unfortunate if someone doesn't get through this trilogy, though, because there are 6 more books in First Law, and I think they're all better than the original trilogy. Number 4, the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. This is throwing a bone to my son, who really enjoyed this trilogy and is enjoying all of Robin Hobb's Realm of the Outerlings, which this is the first set of. This trilogy contains Assassin's Apprentice, Royal Assassin, and Assassin's Quest. It's a heartbreaking, character-driven fantasy centered on a royal bastard. This trilogy is nearly universally praised for deep character work and its emotional resonance. But again, this is really leaning into characters, and if you're not so much into the character development, this may not click for you. I've struggled a little with Robin Hobb's writing, but I tend to be an outlier. Most people just love this trilogy. Number 3, His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. This is The Northern Lights, unless you're in North America like me, where it came out as The Golden Compass, The Subtle Knife, and The Amber Spyglass. This is the first of the award-winning books in the list, because we've got a Carnegie Medal, a Whitbread Medal, an American Libraries Association award, and more for His Dark Materials. I said there weren't any other YA in this list. That's not true. His Dark Materials was actually written for the younger audience. And it's iconic for its deep philosophical themes, boldly blending theology, science, and fantasy. It's also rejected by some because of its messing with theology in there. And Pullman himself saying it's the anti Chronicles of Narnia. Yeah, all the Chronicles of Narnia fans are like, burn it, burn it. But it's some good literature. Number 3 on the list. Number 2, The Broken Earth Trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. This has the 5th season, The Obelisk Gate, and The Stone Sky. Now, to get all the way at number 2 on this list, it must have some awards, right? Yes, it is the only trilogy to win the Hugo Award for Best Novel for each book. They came out in successive years, and each year it was the best novel of the year. It's the only time it's been done. Known for its groundbreaking world building, literary prose style, and the social commentary that's scattered throughout it. It's considered a masterpiece of apocalyptic epic fantasy, and even though I didn't personally entirely enjoy the series, I could appreciate its high quality. Jemisin knew what she was doing, and it is a heck of a piece of literature, this trilogy. But now you know it had to be number 1. I really tried to think, could I put something above this? And I just couldn't. The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. Of course, being The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King. This trilogy is another award winner, this time being the World Fantasy Award for Life Achievement, earned by J.R.R. Tolkien. It has such an enduring legacy that has impacted all of fantasy that's come ever since. So we can truly say this is the foundation of modern epic fantasy. Most people consider it the most influential fantasy trilogy of all time. And how do you argue with that? All right, those are my picks. A worthy top 10 list, I do believe. But now I need to hear from you. Do you agree? What do you think of these trilogies? Are there others that you think would have been better on the top 10 greatest of all time? And which ones would you pull out to replace instead? Or do I just have the order wrong? And then there's some that should be higher or lower. Give me your comments. Put them down in the comment box. I always read them and I do respond. And while you're looking down there in the show notes, there's other ways to interact with Zach and I. An invitation to our Discord server. Come join well over 100 other people who like hanging out with us, chatting about books and other nerdy things. Our social media links, our Patreon link. Thank you, all you Patreon supporters. We do appreciate your financial support. Even our email is there. We love hearing from people. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.